God bless the great state of Georgia. Let me say on behalf of Heidi and Caroline and Catherine, we are thrilled to be with so many friends here in Georgia. This is incredible. Look around. This is how we turn the country around. Listen, every one of us understands our country's in crisis. Yes. We are bankrupting our kids and grandkids. Yes. We're seeing our constitutional rights under assault from Washington each and every day.
Yes.
And we're seeing America receding from leadership in the world. But let me give you a word of hope, a word of encouragement, a word of optimism. America is waking up.
Yes. Oh, yes.
All across this country, millions of men and women are standing up saying, this doesn't make any sense. What we're doing isn't working. So let's look forward. Let's look forward to January 20th, 2017.
With the Cruz presidency!
If I'm elected president,
We will make it!
let me tell you what I intend to do the very first day in office. 5 things. The first thing I intend to do on the first day in office is rescind every single illegal and unconstitutional executive taken by President Obama. This president says he has a pen and he's got a phone. Well, you live by the pen, you die by the pen. And we are going to restore the rule of law in America. It's not just been executive orders that have been misguided. It's been every branch of the federal government that has been turned into a partisan arm. The Department of Justice has become the most political partisan Department of Justice in history. On the first day that I'm in office, I intend to direct the U.S. Department of Justice to open an investigation into Planned Parenthood. And to prosecute any and all criminal violations of law that have been captured on video, because the rule of law matters. The third thing I intend to do is inform every branch of the federal government, from the Department of Justice to the IRS to every other federal agency, that the persecution of religious liberty ends today. You know, the Little Sisters of the Poor are a Catholic charity of nuns who've devoted their lives to caring for the poor and the elderly. Right now today, the Obama administration is litigating against the Little Sisters of the Poor, trying to impose millions of dollars of fines on them under Obamacare in order to force the sisters to pay for abortion-inducing drugs for others. Now, let me give you a real simple rule of thumb. If you're litigating against nuns, you've probably done something wrong. In January 2017, instead of receiving a legal summons from the Obama Department of Justice, the Little Sisters of the Poor are going to receive in the mail a notice that the case against them has been dismissed. And along with that, they're going to receive an invitation to come to the White House and tell their story to the world. fourth thing I intend to do on the first day in office is revoke this catastrophic Iranian nuclear deal. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I observed that if this deal goes through, it will make the Obama administration the world's leading financier of radical Islamic terrorism. In response, President Obama, about a week ago from Africa, took time out of his busy schedule to attack me directly. You know, I do so hate when I distress the man. And he said that he thought that rhetoric was overheated, that was too much to say that. Well, let's talk about the facts. Fact number one. Iran today is the world's leading state sponsor of radical Islamic terrorism. Fact number two, if this deal goes through, over $100 billion will flow into Iran. And fact number three is billions of those dollars will end up being given to Hamas, to Hezbollah, to the Houthis, to radical Islamic terrorists across the globe. Here's a real simple proposition. The truth isn't rhetoric. If the American government has the control of billions of dollars and willfully allows those billions of dollars to go to jihadists who use it to murder Americans and Israelis and Europeans, if the president doesn't like the rhetoric about his administration becoming the world's leading financier of radical Islamic terrorism, then they should stop financing radical Islamic terrorism. The fifth thing I intend to do on the first day in office is begin the process of moving the American embassy in Israel to Jerusalem, the once and eternal capital. You know, presidents, Republican and Democrats, have promised to do that. And yet when they get in office,
That's why we need you, Ted.
they're told somehow, gosh, folks would be real unhappy with us in the Middle East if we did that. Well, if you hadn't noticed, they're kind of unhappy already.
Yeah, we don't want to upset them.
It's worth remembering the last time we had hostages in Iran.
Yes.
The last time we had a weak, ineffective president who wouldn't stand for this country. But y'all have repented. It's worth remembering that Iran released our hostages the day Ronald Reagan was sworn into office. I just described the first day in office when I'm elected president.
Yes.
There are 365 days in every year.
All right.
4 years in a presidential term and 4 years in a second term. The one thing we can be sure of is there are going to be a whole lot of newspaper reporters and editors who are going to check themselves into therapy over the next 8 years. But listen, we can get back to common sense principles. The press likes to describe every one of us here as radical, extreme, crazy. Here's some of the ideas we believe in. Here's some of the ideas I'm fighting to do. Live within your means. Stop bankrupting our kids and grandkids.
That's right.
Follow the Constitution. It is only in Washington, D.C. that those are viewed as radical and extreme.
Thank you.
Let me mention something else. The press wants you to believe, the Democrats want you to believe, although I repeat myself, that it's hopeless, that there's nothing we can do. They want everyone here to abandon hope, just go fishing, give up on this country, give up on our kids and our grandkids.
No! This is not dictatorship. This is America.
Amen. You know, the book of Ecclesiastes tells us there's nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
I think where we are today is very, very much like the late 1970s. The parallels between Barack Obama and Jimmy Carter are uncanny. Same failed domestic policy, same misery, stagnation, and malaise. Same failed and feckless foreign policy. In fact, the exact same countries, Russia and Iran, openly laughing at and mocking the President of the United States.
Liberal minds.
You know, the one person in America thrilled with the job Barack Obama's doing is Jimmy Carter. Now let me tell you why that analogy gives me so much hope and encouragement and optimism. Because we know how that story ends. Millions of Americans rose up, came up together, and became the Reagan Revolution. And it didn't come from Washington. Washington despised Ronald Reagan. If you see a politician who Washington embraces, run and hide. It came from the people. It turned this country around. We went from stagnation to booming economic growth. We went from hostages in Iran to tearing the Berlin Wall to the ground. I'm optimistic because it is happening again. It is happening again. You know, when we launched the campaign, the New York Times said Cruz cannot win because the Washington elites despise him.
Good. That's why we want you.
I kind of thought that was the whole point of the campaign. The Times went on to say, all right, maybe the grassroots will be with him. But he ain't going to have any money. The Washington elites control all the money, and the lobbyists are all with other candidates that aren't going to rock the boat, that are going to keep the gravy train coming. Everyone just filed their fundraising reports out of 17 Republican candidates running for president. Do you know which campaign raised the most hard money for the campaign? To date, we have seen over $14.3 million. We have seen over 225,000 contributions from all 50 states coming to tedcruz.org. 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 It's tedcruz.org. Our average contribution is $68. We have supporters in roughly half the zip codes in America. 48.1% of the zip codes have one or more Cruz campaign donors. That is the power of the grassroots. Let me make a final point. For all of us here, liberty isn't some abstract idea we read in a book. It's something real and personal to all of us. It's something we know in our families. I look at my little girls, Caroline and Catherine, who are 7 and 4, and freedom is what I'm fighting for their future. I look at my dad, Pastor Rafael Cruz. My father was born in Cuba, and as a teenager, he fought the Cuban Revolution. He was thrown in prison. He was tortured by Batista, beaten halfway to death. then you understand the price. My dad fled Cuba in 1957. He came to America. He had nothing. He couldn't speak English. He had $100 sewn into his underwear. His first job was washing dishes, making 50 cents an hour. He worked 7 days a week, graduated from school, went on to start a small business. Today, my father is a pastor traveling the country preaching the gospel.
Amen.
When I was a kid, my father used to say to me over and over again, when we faced oppression in Cuba, I had a place to flee to. If we lose our freedom here, where do we go? That is why each and every one of us is here. We are standing here for our children, for our grandchildren, for the future of this country. We're coming together, and if we the people rise up, we will turn around this great nation. We will bring back that shining city on a hill that is the United States.